like to wear hats. Sometimes I'm a firefighter, part-time policeman, but my favorite is being the Children's Miracle Network champion for this year.
Okay, Sawyer, so what should people know about CMN?
I think that they should know that the money is raised towards helping kids like me, and all the money stays local, and it helps both the kids and the parents, so that the kids can, in some cases, so that the kids can actually live, and in other cases so that the parents don't have to drive miles to get help for their kids.
My pregnancy was pretty much picture perfect all the way through until the morning of, like, the very beginning of week 29, and I woke up and realized that my water had broke. And so I called my doctor immediately and had to go to the hospital, and ended up being on bed rest in the hospital for 3 weeks, and with the goal being that if I could get to 32 weeks, then Sawyer's lungs would have had a much better chance of being a little more developed. And I made it to the morning of week 32, and he came on that very day. Well, they knew that they were going to take him no matter what, because he was early. So he was about 8 weeks early. He was born at 3 pounds 7 ounces. So he was already tiny, but the biggest concern was potentially that his lungs weren't developed enough, that he was going to have breathing issues, and he did. So when they took him, they intubated him right away and put him in an incubator, which kept him nice and warm, and they did feeding tube for him so he wouldn't have to learn how to eat right away, because that causes so much stress on little bodies. It was terrifying, actually, because I knew that they were going to take him and most likely intubate him, but you know, I was on a whole different floor of the hospital than he was, so it was really scary. I didn't get to be there, and that was really hard, to have to just basically say goodbye to your baby as soon as they're born and then not see them for hours. They were like angels here on earth. I felt like God just was protecting us and watching over us with these people that were surrounding us. The night staff were always fun. I remember one particular night nurse, Janice, she would put, when we weren't there, we would put like little hats and different things on them and take these super fun pictures that she would give us the next day. It was always really sweet. One memory that stands out for sure is because he was intubated right away and in the incubator, I couldn't hold him for several days. So it was a good like 3 or 4 days before I could actually hold him. And so they make it basically kind of an event for you, and they promote, you know, kind of skin-to-skin contact with the baby, because it's so comforting and reassuring for them. And I remember the nurse that sat up, she just sat there and cried with me while we were doing that, and it just was really special, because I knew that I knew she'd seen this before. I knew that she knew how it felt, and it felt like an extended family being there with them. I feel so blessed that we were able to be here in Yakima to have Sawyer here in town at the NICU here. I did imagine a couple times what it would have been like, because there was actually some talk at some points, because I didn't know why he couldn't breathe, of maybe he'd have to go to Seattle or do something different. And it was actually terrifying to even think about, because I knew that I wouldn't be surrounded by my family and my friends and the people that were able to support me and come around me, and we would just be alone basically in a town that we didn't know and people we didn't know. And so I'm so happy, and I feel so blessed that we were able to be here and still have the support of our immediate friends and family, and the support of the family that we grew to love in the NICU here. Sawyer is an absolutely amazing kid. He has just been nothing but a joy. He loves dinosaurs and Marvel and Star Wars and just all the fun boy things, but he's also super smart, and he has never had any breathing issues since we left all that behind when he was a baby. He's super healthy. We just actually came from a doctor's appointment, and he's exactly the same height as I am. And so this little boy who was 3 pounds 7 ounces is now about ready to surpass me, and probably who knows what he will do. But I just have always felt, even when we were in the NICU, I have always felt like God has big plans for Sawyer, and I'm excited to see what those are. We are so thankful for companies and individuals like you who want to come out and support CMN and all these efforts. The biggest thing that I would say to encourage people to give is, I had no idea how important it was to have a NICU in town until I needed it. I knew it was here, I'd heard about it, but I had never experienced it. And you wouldn't really know unless you do have that opportunity to experience it. It is such an amazing facility to have here in town, and the fact that people that live here and in the surrounding areas don't have to travel miles and miles to get amazing care for their babies is so important. So that would be the biggest thing that I would say to encourage someone to want to support this effort and make sure that this NICU stays here in town.
I was a little under 4 pounds, so I was probably somewhere like this. I've seen pictures, so probably somewhere around like this.
Like it.
It just feels like kind of a blessing to know that I wasn't very normal when I was born, and now I am.
Tell us that, Sawyer. What do you like about being CMN champion?
I like that I get to raise awareness for kids that need help, and at the same time helping kids, because in a way I'm raising money for Children's Miracle Network, which it helps kids a lot. And thank you, Costco, for raising money to help kids like me. Nothing you want to say? Good job.